Hello and welcome to the College Student Inventory Survey presentation. My name is Dustin Daigle. I'm an academic counselor and CSI systems analyst here at UL Lafayette, and I'm going to be walking you through this presentation today. So what is the CSI survey? It's a 104 question survey that is completed by all of our incoming freshmen at UL before they attend a college class. Your results will give you personal suggestions on campus resources that can be helpful based on your results. Results reflect what are the students' strengths and what are some things that they should work on as far as college level skills go. Here you will see what a copy of your student CSI report will look like. Throughout this presentation, we're going to go through this report and explain to you how to read these different graphs. First, we're going to go through this motivational assessment piece. It's broken down into three different categories: academic motivation, general coping, and receptivity to support services. Here's how you would read your results for this survey. For academic motivation, for example, the first one is study habits. If you scored above a 70 in study habits, that means you have really strong study skills already in place. You probably already know how to study. You've probably used these skills throughout high school. If you scored below a 70, however, it's probably indicative that you need to develop some of those study habit skills. What's important to know is that we do have resources here at UL that can help you develop those skills. At the Learning Center in Lee Hall, you can actually schedule what's called an academic coaching tutoring session. You will meet with another student who is trained to teach you how to study. Every student is different in the way they learn, and there's many different options of study habits, and we want to work on what works best for you. Reading interest. If you score above a 70, that means you probably really enjoy reading, mostly academic work, reading different articles, things like that. What's important to know here is that you will be required to do a lot of reading throughout colleges. A lot of professors say that you need to read from a textbook alongside of what they teach in class. This is very important because you need to know how to read and how to understand with your reading. So if you score below a 70, you need to go and find ways to help you understand the reading, which is something that we can also help you with in Lee Hall. Next is verbal and writing confidence. If you score above a 70, that means you're probably really good at writing papers or doing speeches or public speaking, and that you're really good at expressing yourself in written form or in verbal form. If you score below a 70, there are resources that we can provide for you to help you in this as well. We have a writing center on campus that's located in H.L. Griffin Hall, where you can actually bring your writing to someone and they can sit down with you and talk about how you can improve this paper, or what you did right, or what ways that can actually help you build your paper into a better college level paper and develop your writing skills for the future. Next is math and science confidence. If you scored above a 70, that means in high school you probably really enjoyed and were successful in your biologies and your maths and your trigs, all those different math and science classes. If you scored below that, that means you may need some help in this. This does not mean that you won't be successful in these classes in college. It just means that you may need a little extra help or extra work in these classes. Please be aware that if you know that you struggle with math or you know that you struggle with science, go seek out tutoring as soon as you get to campus. Don't wait until the first exam. Don't wait until after the first exam. If you know this is something you really need to work on, seek the help as soon as you get to campus. Tutoring is free and it's offered in Lee Hall in the Learning Center. Next is commitment to college. If you scored above a 70, that tells me that your goal is to graduate from college. If you scored below that, you may have some alternative things in mind. Maybe you're not sure if college is right for you, or maybe you're thinking about going to technical school, or maybe you're thinking about just going into the work field. This is something that we can talk about face to face when and if you ever come to Lee Hall to see an academic advisor. Interactions with previous teachers tells me that if you scored high on this, you were probably very good at talking to your teachers in high school, or you got along with them really well. If you scored low, that tells me that you might have been slighted by a professor or that you didn't get along with them. This is another skill that you really need to build in college. There's going to be a lot of students that are taking classes with you, and sometimes when you don't understand material, you need to kind of raise your hand and ask questions. Meet with your professor during their office hours. Email them. Don't be afraid to ask questions because this is where this is very important. They get to know you on a personal level when you're actually participating in class. You might be in a class of 250 or 100 students or even 30 students, but they'll remember your name because you're interacting and you're actually showing that you're interested in what they're teaching you. Next, we're going to go into general coping. The first one in general coping is social engagement. So if you score high in this one, this tells me that you're a very social person. You like making friends. You like doing things outside of the classroom and maybe working in teams. If you scored lower, that tells me you're more of a, introvert. Maybe you like to stay home more often than not. And this is fine. This is everything. No, there's no bad scores really. What this is telling me that if you're very high into social engagement, maybe you'll be interested in joining a club, or maybe you'll be interested in joining a Greek organization on campus. Um, this is very important because this is ways that you cope with coming to college because it's going to be different than it was in high school. Next is family support. If you scored above 70 in this is telling me that you have a guardian or a mom and dad, grandparent that's really supporting you throughout your college experience. And if it's low, it's kind of telling me that maybe you're, on your own or, you moved away from home, something like that. We just want to let you know that we like to treat you well as a family, and that includes staff, faculty, students. We are your new family. If you need us, we're here to support you. If at any time you feel like you need to be supported, come and talk to your academic advisor and we can help you. Next is capacity for tolerance. What this basically means is how good are you or how tolerant are you around being around people that aren't like you, whether it's race or religion or views. College is going to be a place where you're going to meet a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life. Your teachers might be way different from what you're used to. Your classmates might be way different than what you're used to. Your advisors might be way different than what you're used to. Your capacity to tolerance being very high tells me that you're open to experience and meet all these people and see where they come from. If it's low, that means you're very sheltered in a way that you're used to the way things have always been for you, and you might be a little bit more closed-minded. Like we said, there's no bad answers here. This is just giving us a little bit of background on you and letting you know that, hey, if your tolerance is really on the lower side, here's what you can look for when you come to school. You're going to be experiencing a bunch of different cultures. And Lafayette is a great place to experience culture. It's got the Cajun culture, it's got some Creole culture, and it's a big city with a lot of different cultures combined, and it's a great place to have a college campus and experience different people's views. Next up is career plans. If you scored above a 70, that tells me that you're pretty solid in what you want to do after you graduate. You are solidified in what career path you are choosing. If you scored below a 70, maybe you're a little on the fence about choosing between two different things. Maybe you have no idea what you want to do after you graduate. We actually have career services on campus that can help you solidify what your career plans are. So whether it's you have a little bit of an idea or you have no idea, they can help you out. There's different tools that they use, and they have career counselors that can actually tell you more information about careers that you might be interested in. Financial security is very important. This tells me that if you score high, that for the most part, your college is paid for in a way, or that you have a plan to pay for college. If you score very low, that tells me you might be uncertain on how you're going to pay for college. It's a very common thing among students. But we want to let you know that we have resources, surprise, on campus that can help you with this. We have a financial aid center, we have a scholarship center, so they can help you with maybe getting a scholarship to lift some of that financial burden off of you, or you can apply for a loan. You can talk to a financial aid officer if needed. But if you scored low, just know that there's resources that you can go to that can help you pay for school if you need. Now we're going to move on to our receptivity to support services. So the first one is academic assistance. Kind of what we do in Lee Hall is we offer academic assistance. If you score real low, that tells me that you think that you're fine on your own, you got it in the bag, you're not too worried. If you score really high, that means you might need some of that help in things like study skills, exam taking skills, time management. That's stuff that we can help you with in Lee Hall. The next one is personal counseling. So we want to make all of our students aware that there is counseling services available to all of our students on campus, and it's completely confidential. If you score really high on this personal counseling part, we suggest that you schedule an appointment to talk to a counselor and actually talk out some of the things you're going through. This is a big transition, and a lot of our students, what we're seeing now is um, mental health being on the forefront. You need to make sure your mental health is in check. So go see a counselor if you need it. If you score real low, that means you really don't think you need it, but know that it's always available if you do. Social engagement, we talked a little bit about earlier. If you score high, that means that you're really good about being social and you want to make friends and you want to join different clubs. So go and do that. If you score really low, that means you're more of an introvert, that you kind of keep to yourself. That's totally fine as well. Career guidance. So if you're unsure on which career you want to join, your career guidance score should be really high. You should be seeking that support. So like I said earlier, you can go to career services on campus and get that help if you need it. Same thing with financial aid. If you're unsure how you're going to pay for school, your financial aid guidance or receptivity to financial aid guidance should be really high because you want to seek that support out. And now we've come to your personal success plan. What this is, it's 25 potential action statements that are scored by your results that tell you, hey, here are the things that you need to concentrate the most of once you get to campus. So, for instance, the student that scored this scored a 7 in getting help obtaining a scholarship. This tells me that this student was worried about paying for school. You can see the first three things are about financial aid, getting a scholarship, finding a summer job, obtaining a loan. So this is something that you can pay attention to as here's the top things that you need to do right when you get to campus. So it's a game plan, it's an action item. It's not just me telling you, hey, you should get tutoring. You should here's a direct correlation between your results saying, hey, this is what you need to do because if you do these things, it's going to make you successful in college. Lastly, you will see on your results student recommendations. This kind of breaks down exactly what I was saying earlier as along the lines of, hey, here's how you scored in study habits, here's what that means, here's what you scored in the reading interest, here's what it means based off of your scores. So this is kind of just an extra literature to kind of break down and show you why you scored, where you scored, and what it means. So this was a pretty long video. It's a lot to unpack, and maybe you still need some help and you don't know who to ask. The biggest thing to take away for, if you need help at any time throughout your career in college at UL, come and talk to us in the Academic Success Center at Lee Hall. Right now, you can reach us by phone, you can email us. Eventually, when we go back to campus, you can come and see us in person, hopefully. And you can also contact your academic advisor in your college if you need help as well. But don't be afraid to ask for help. That's probably the most important thing in college is this is a new experience for you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. No question is a bad question or a dumb question. If you don't ask for help, then you'll never get it. So we hope you enjoyed this presentation. We hope you got a lot out of it, and we can't wait to see you here in the fall.